You who may be live with us this evening, this afternoon, or this morning. I'm Fran Strickland. I'm here with Irene Greeny, and we are going to be talking about emotional mastery for business leaders.
Mm.
And I am really enthusiastic about our time together. This is a bridge, if you will, because about 2 weeks ago, Irina and I were together talking about the matter of being overwhelmed, moving from being overwhelmed to having inner peace. And that was really focused on things that people do in their business to make a difference in that space. But now we're getting to really the true key
Mm.
to that movement from overwhelm to inner peace to what's happening inside of us, our emotions that can make a huge difference. So Irina is one of my most favorite people. Again, she and I met in one of these high level networking groups. We've been learning together. And so she is a mental wellness coach and certified dance therapist. And she works with leaders in their mental and emotional health maintenance. And that is huge. She specializes in helping tech leaders with expression histories to master their emotions so they can sustain their success without draining themselves. Formerly an engineer and academic expat, before starting her coaching business, Irina understands the challenges of professionals in highly driven environments where often there's no space for emotions. And you know what? She is talking from her own personal journey because she has gone through her experience of dealing with her own depression. And you know, it's something to be said about someone who is helping others out of their own experience and able to share what they have learned. Now, today, we're just going to have a dialogue. I invite you, if you have any questions or comments, you're live here, you'd like to put them in the chat. We're welcome to them. I'm going to be watching to see what comes up. And so we're going to get started. So, Rainy, before we start, is there any opening comments you'd like to start us off with?
Wow, that's a really great introduction, Fran. And I'm really just, it's such an honor to be here in your space and having a conversation with you. And yeah, what you mentioned also, kind of, that's really the real key is, this change. It starts from within. So I'm really, yeah, excited about, unpeeling that layers with you today.
Well, so am I. I just know it's going to be very rich. And you know, you and I have talked often. I mean, we've had some one-on-one conversations. You know, I've talked about some of my low spots and experiences. And we've talked about how emotions can make or break our business. Can you give us some examples of how that happens?
Yes, absolutely. Now, perhaps this is also a space for looking inward. Yeah, every one of us have, for sure, we all have emotions. We are all humans, and when we talk about emotions, yeah, perhaps first part, emotions that make positive impact in our business, in our life, like what comes up. Yeah, so
Mhm,
perhaps like you think about, oh, that feeling of being appreciated, feeling confident, feeling
mhm.
supported. There's joy and excitement, and of course, like, yeah, these are yeah, some of the important positive emotions that could really uplift us in our business. But depending on our situation and also our personal history, and it's also just part of life, we cannot have only the good things. We
Mhm.
also experience the negative emotions, and if we don't watch out, they can break our business, but also beyond that, our relationship, our personal, our personal life as well. And they could even creep in situations that seemingly are up.
Mhm.
Kind of, if we think of, like perhaps what is the most recent up experience in our career or in our business or personal. Yeah, perhaps you got a promotion or you just landed a big client. And for me, like for instance, I recently got a big client, so it's like really an up moment, like in my business, and I did celebrate that. But I'm also aware how, kind of, if I'm not careful, like these anxieties, the self doubts, the insecurities could creep back in. Yeah, kind of like, will I be able to deliver? Will I do a good job? Or, like, oh, what will, yeah, my client, what will they think about me? And
Mhm.
all this fear, which shows up in
Mhm.
all sort of different ways. And perhaps,
Mhm.
like, yeah, some of our audience may relate to that. If you feel that, yeah, just share in the comment or send us a DM after this. Um, but if we are giving into that fear, and if I'm giving into that fear, friend, like we wouldn't have this conversation.
No, for sure, neither one of us would be here.
Yeah, I would just be, like hiding in my, I don't know, in my closet. I wouldn't be reaching out to anyone. And
Mhm.
yeah, so you probably recognize that as a fellow business leaders. And yeah, fear also, like if we are not aware of this fear, it could also change how we show up. Maybe we seem so unsure, we seem like, oh, kind of bit disengaged, kind of bit, maybe
Mhm.
our potential clients or our potential business partners.
Mhm.
And this is just one emotion, but kind of there could be also yeah, another example that is unfortunately quite common as well, like in the business, is the emotion of anger.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of, I see your
Yeah.
eyes widen. And yeah, it could start with little frustrations, like, oh,
Mhm.
resentment here and there. And perhaps, like with the person we resent, like there's no communication happening, and we keep bottling up those anger feeling, and it might explode into a conflict, for instance.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I actually had a client who was struggling with this in particular, like with angry outburst, and it started, yeah, exactly like more or less in the same story. There's a build up of stress and pressure, and the last drop was that he had a conflict with his boss, but it didn't stop there. It carried over to his home, and kind of he noticed like, wow, he had angry outbursts to his loved ones, and then he felt really guilty afterwards.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so these are some example of emotions. We need to take care of them, and we cannot just simply suppress them, bottle them up, or ignoring them, because in the long run this could have yeah, adverse effect. It could impact our physical health as well. And I think this is the most important point, because a lot of physical diseases are rooted in stress or in stuck
Mhm.
emotions.
Mhm.
And you can imagine, like, when we are sick, we are not feeling well in our physical body, like we cannot deliver our best work either. And
Right.
when we fall seriously ill, like we have to, like, um, we could risk also, like, yeah, out of business, putting ourselves out of business.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, yeah, like a bit about, why emotions, like it can really make or break our business.
Wow. You know, Irina, I first of all, I so appreciate the fact that you highlighted kind of this interesting interplay between positive and less positive, or we could say negative emotion. I mean, who could imagine that we could have these really positive feelings
Mm.
that are somewhat undercut by the doubts and the worries and the fears that come in? And I actually experience that quite often because I have big aspirations for my business.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about, well, how am I going to do all that? If I have too many clients, how can I serve them? Or, who can I have in my network who can bring their expertise? And it's like, you steal from the joy and you have a missed opportunity. And if it's too much of the doubt, worry, fear, and all of those negativities, then it just kind of is stuck, and it just really brings you down.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Spot on. Yeah, that's kind of also the experience I relate, kind of like because yeah, we are both really heart-centered, people-centered business owners, and we really want to also to show up our best to deliver our best work. And kind of we need to really be aware of this. Sometimes it comes in very subtle ways, and we
Hmm.
also need to catch them and yeah, learn the tools as well, how to transform them so we can show up powerfully.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that's a nice segue to the next part of the question, because you mentioned that the risk
mm,
of, particularly when it comes to anger and disappointment or things that can come up, particularly in work, and how it can bubble off over at home, that sometimes we put a lid on it.
mm,
We're stoic, and I've done that, and I've had my emotional blow ups
mm.
too.
Yeah.
And you feel like a heel when it happens. And you talked about that, that suppression can result in disease. But
Yes.
but can you share with us now what's a healthier way of dealing
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Yeah. So first, really to understand, yeah, kind of like when we are dealing with emotions or stress, those are not only in the mind, like it's a whole body experience. And physiologically, like why it creates also physical disease because uh, our body is kind of responding to stress by getting into survival mode, this fight
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
flight or freeze, if we cannot
Yeah.
move anywhere
Right.
to change our situation. And this is physical response where a lot of biochemistries are changing, yeah, biochemical reactions inside our body, and then our nervous system is impacted as well. And yeah, of course with nervous system is also regulating a lot of other systems in our body, like our respiration, our digestion, and our immune system, for instance. And that's why it can create, like if we let it continue for a while, it creates chronic stress, and then it can manifest as physical disease.
Hmm.
And yeah, key is really indeed to explore what is a healthier way, because as a, yeah, dedicated professionals, we also want to learn the skills to stay in business. Yeah,
Hmm.
kind of like
Hmm.
by understanding our emotions and also how to take care of our emotions in a compassionate way. And the first step towards that healthier way is really by acknowledging our emotions. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I love to share this wonderful analogy, like that emotions are like weather conditions. Yeah. So I love to ask people like, how's the weather inside? Kind of, like just like when we see the weather outside, like we probably have an idea how to prepare the right equipment or the right tools before we go outside. So it's a bit similar, like emotions are that internal weather conditions. It's temporary, it arises and then it goes away, and it's signaling us that okay, something important is happening, and it informs us also how to navigate life, how to course correct and respond in a more conscious way. So that's really the first step. Like the healthier way is to acknowledge, and also to, yeah, sometimes it's really by observing, like what, when I'm experiencing an emotion, maybe we don't even know what is this emotion I'm feeling, but there are always sensations in our body somewhere. And
Hmm.
one go-to source I always check in with myself is my breathing, for instance.
Hmm.
Because, like when I'm anxious or I'm stressed, my breathing tends to change as well. It goes higher and it goes shallower, and then it gives a signal, and my conscious action might be like, okay, can I exhale, like just take a moment to do some breathing. And that could be like, yeah, it could take maybe what, like a couple of seconds, but it's also an opportunity to renew myself. And this is just kind of maybe the surface, yeah, because like there are also maybe old emotions underneath that, and that we need like more careful work to process them.
Wow. Wow. So, you know, it sounds so simple what you're
Mm,
saying, but it's also a little difficult, because when
yes.
we get stressed, we sometimes forget. We're not as mindful
Mm,
of, of what's going on in our bodies. But, now this acknowledging, because if we're in denial, we definitely won't be able to do anything about it. But acknowledging it, and then, as you say, seeing, recognizing that it is an indicator of something maybe being out of balance.
yeah.
You know what? I'm going to make that a part of my repertoire. When I get up in the morning, I'm going to start asking myself in the morning, okay, how am I really feeling? What is this telling me? I think that will really make a huge difference to my day ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ah,
That's the value of these kinds of conversations. You learn so much. Now,
wow. Yeah.
I do have one other little question I have, because I'm so curious, because you're also a dance movement therapist. How does that influence your work with clients?
Wow, that's a very loaded question. But yeah, it is also yeah, dance movement. I'm curious. What do you think? What comes to mind? When you hear, oh, dance and movement.
Ah, well, I just Well, sometimes when I'm feeling tensed
Mm,
up and, I do a movement which stretches my body, obviously I'm a mind body person,
yeah.
then it just loosens and opens up maybe my chest or relieves that pressure that I'm feeling in my solar plexus.
Mm,
So, yeah, that's kind of what comes to mind.
okay, wonderful. Yeah, that you already have that embodied tool. Kind of, you notice also there's tension, and then, oh yeah, I go to my stretches or my movement, and then you feel a bit better afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's a bit of also like how this dance movement therapy, why it works, kind of, because it is like really playing in the space of that interconnectivity between our body and our mind.
Yeah.
And as a clinically trained dance movement therapist, oh yeah, I spent like 3 years in the education, like in the master program for it, like really to hone on my yeah, attunement skills. So I,
Mhm.
I listen to my clients, to the people in front of me, with my whole being, kind of,
Yeah.
like body and mind, because like when we talk about interaction or communication, yeah, perhaps like, only a small part of it, maybe less than 10%, like 7% or so, is only the words spoken, but the rest is nonverbal.
Wow.
And that could be really yeah, adding more perspective, like, more layers to understanding, because um yeah, the holistic perspective is there, because like as we discussed earlier, stress, emotions, that's not only in the mind, that's also in the body. So there's
Mhm.
that holistic perspective, body
Mhm.
and mind. And there's also that element of creativity. Yeah, and
Mhm.
it works wonderfully. Like, in my case, it was also to help me express, just for genuine self-expression, that yeah, that's not limited to words. Kind of like in movement we can express a lot, and sometimes without being aware of it, like, we're always like moving about, doing some gesture. We have also some physical, maybe, yeah, kind of movement patterns that could, yeah, when we are looking more deeply into it, like, okay, that tells also about a bit about our, maybe what we feel inside, and about, like, what is our attitude
Yeah.
towards something. And and really about experiencing, like allowing ourselves experiencing something different. Yeah, kind of like dance movement, because that's what's needed to really change um, our subconscious patterns,
Mhm.
like we
Mhm.
make them more conscious. And that's also like what could strengthen, the changes we want to make in our life. like in our mindset or in our emotion. And there's that safe space by
Sure.
exploring in movement.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we are now about 10 minutes before we're
Mhm.
wrapping up. I'd like to ask you, do we have a little bit of time for you to give us a little bit of a
Okay.
sample before we wrap up?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. Talking about this experience. So, friend, I see you are sitting down right now.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
fine. Yeah, we can do this exercise sitting down. I'm standing up. So either way, like if you're sitting down, you probably also have your feet connected to the ground. Yeah,
Yes.
and I really feel the feet kind of resting on the
Mhm.
ground,
Mhm.
and maybe you can give in a bit of the weight. Yeah, the
Okay.
weight, like give in, just feel the sensations. Maybe there's, I don't know, like a sense of warmth or cold, perhaps,
Yeah.
or a sense of pressure. Yeah, because you
Pressure.
lift your
Uh-huh.
weight.
Yes. Yes.
So, if you're sitting down, like you,
Right.
friend, you can also feel that in your bum.
Right. I do feel it on my bum.
Yeah, and we're just doing something playful. The experience of kind of like we have, of course, a lot of things going on in our life, in our business, in our personal life, and yeah, maybe like in this experiential space right now, um yeah, we can play it by steering around our weight. Yeah, so I'm now kind of shifting my weight around on my feet, kind of
Yeah.
ooh, yeah, and you can do that on your bum.
And I can also move my shoulders a little bit too.
Yes, we have like a really a natural mover.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and allow that.
Feels good.
Yeah, and allow that kind of like if other body parts also want to have something to say it with movement.
Mm,
Mm,
that's super.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we allow the body to have a say? Like, oh yeah, what is it? What is it stressing me out? What is this emotion I've been carrying? And without any judgment, yeah, kind of like if we allow that, just that space for the body to take the lead without overthinking.
Yes.
And kind of like maybe that brings up oh, like sense of wow, yeah, sometimes that's how I feel in my business. Sometimes like wow, really kind of like there are so
Mhm.
many external elements like shaking me here there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we could also create an experience where we find ourselves in the center. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
so for every one of us, that's probably different. Yeah, there's no recipe for this. You really need to feel it in your body. Like if you're on your feet, you're probably feeling it's not too much to the front, it's not too much on the heel, but where is
Right.
that heel? Yeah.
If I stood up, you wouldn't see me anymore. I'd come
Ah, yeah.
completely
So
off the screen.
yeah. So also in your bum, like kind of feel, all right, how is my body in alignment? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Was there's the feet, the
Mhm.
leg, the knees, the hips
Yes.
resting on the chair, but
Yeah.
then also our torso here. How can we, just find an easy place or of our torso, where it
Oh,
stays. Yeah,
wow.
we can bring a bit of lengthening. Make some space. That's often like when we have a lot of intense emotion. Yeah, it feels like it might feel a bit like constricted, like oh, bit yeah, shrink.
Yeah.
But hey, can we reclaim our space?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah,
Thank you, Rena. That feels
sure.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
yeah.
glad I get to do this together with you.
Well, I can tell you, I have to be honest, this is like the first time for me, and I was really feeling it in my body. But
Mm.
after our talk now, I'm quite ready to go and do it again. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful. Yes,
Thank
my pleasure.
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's also something to keep as a practice, Fran, because like we don't do it just once a week when we are, I don't know, going to dance class or so on, but kind of we that's like the practice to also come home to our body so that we have a more integrated life, a fuller
Sure.
life.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, what a wonderful conversation. I truly, truly have appreciated this time with you, Arena. And it like I said, since being on my entrepreneurial journey, it's brought me in contact with so many talented people, and you are one of my favorites. You've been so supportive, and I certainly truly appreciate that you come to join me this evening, morning, or afternoon for our audience to share these insights. So, if someone wants to get in touch with you, to work on some of the things that you talked about, how can they reach you?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who wants to, yeah, to know more about what I do, just connect and say hello. Yeah, don't just follow me on LinkedIn. Connect and say hello. And if you're willing to share more about what your goals are, especially in this space, emotional mastery in your business or in your career, then I would love to invite you to a complimentary call. Yeah, I think that's the best way to understand the person, understand you, and to check together if there's any insights I could share, I could offer to you. So if you feel ready for that, yeah, just drop me a message and say hello and yeah, and share also your goals like in the space of emotional mastery.
That's super.
Hmm.
And I have been able to put on in the chat uh,
Oh,
the links also.
yeah,
If people want to try to take a picture so that they can have it, if they
yeah.
have it on their phones, convenient.
Hmm.
Uh, so therefore it'll be easy to get to. But you can find it on LinkedIn, and she's more than ready and more than able to help you realize your emotional balance. So that's it for now, everyone. Excuse the dogs for barking.
Hello, Doc.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, friend. And yes, look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.